Hello, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. We are reacting to a body call from a top leader. This is called the Push to Elite kickoff call. What is the Push to Elite? I'm so glad you asked. I'm gonna tell you. So according to the Body website, it says that when you reach Body Elite, you are part of Body's creme de la creme. Elite partners build outstanding, stable organizations, generate significant volume, and lead by example. And for reaching the upper echelon of partners, you'll earn VIP status and amazing rewards. So basically, you're just making your way to the very tippity top of the company and you're getting an elite title. So this coach, partner, my apologies. They're definitely not coaches, but they used to be known as coaches when it was Beachbody. They are now called partners. This partner held a training to train her team on how to reach elite. And we're gonna get right the fuck into it. But first, we need the disclaimer.
All right, I am so excited for this group. Just like so pumped for us to have a space to really, level up this year. And like, I think when I think about this, like push to elite this year, I feel like it is so attainable and a great way for us to like really get back to like growth mode together. I mean, it's no secret that the last couple years with just every company in the market has kind of, had some struggles, but
that is the understatement of the year.
I truly believe like we're turning a corner. I mean, we had such a massive January. We've not had a January that big in so long. And yeah, there was the BOGO sale, but I think that it's more than just that. Like I was telling Jake, yeah, some of my BOGO sales were people that already were body partners or not partners, members, but a lot of them were people that had left body and now are coming back. So I think that is like super cool, that people are, that's what I love about our company is it's like, we are just consistent. We're always here. We're always going to be the ones that people come back to because we're not about a fad diet. We're not about things that like don't last. It's like, usually people can think back to a body program that they've done, thank you, over the years. And they're like that, they can think about that was the time when I was in the best shape of my life. And so,
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I looked like I was in the best shape of my life when I got married. And that was over 14 years ago now. It was not sustained. It was not sustainable either. At that time, I had no children. So I was able to work out 2 times a day. Yes, I was doing 2-a-days with Body and it was okay because they had a calendar set up so you could do 2-a-days. And a meal program that I've learned now was way too small of a calorie count for somebody who was doing 2-a-days. But I thought they know what they're doing, right? They're a fitness company. They have to know what they're doing. So I followed their advice. And I remember the week of my wedding, I sat down on the living room floor and started crying because I just wanted to eat and I was fucking exhausted from working out. And in my head, I thought if I didn't follow the meal plan and continue to do what I was doing and work out 2 times a day that day, I was gonna look like shit in my wedding dress. And that's the type of community that Body still is.
It is one hot, toxic mess.
So, ma'am, respectfully, shut the fuck up, and you're lying, in my opinion. Let's keep going, though.
they might go somewhere else or try something else. But then time and time again, people come back to me and I'm sure you guys hear the same thing. And they're like, you know what? I gotta get back to that because that's when I truly felt my best. And so I think that's where a lot of people are at. So with this group, really excited for us to kind of just level up our mindsets, level up the areas that we might even feel a little bit like, I don't know how I'm going to figure this out. And, and really kind of lean into the excitement that is there when we build this business and help others to build this business. Kayla, thank you for kind of taking the lead on these. I'm leading this one today to kick things off, but I really so appreciate you taking the lead and just being like, hey, I'm pretty consistent on Saturday mornings that I can be on. I know some of us still have kids that are getting a little bit older. It's a little bit hit or miss depending on activities. So really, really appreciate, Kayla, that you're going to be on. And, we can all tag team too. Like if you have a weekend where you're like, I'm not going to be like, please let us know. So I also don't want the pressure to be like 100% on you and for you to get burnt out on these Saturday mornings either. Okay. So first of all, did everyone get a chance to print off this tracker?
Here we go.
I really, really like how they broke it down this year. Because in the years past, this is all we've had is like this one. And so it's really nice to have it broken. It's really nice for us to, to have this broken down step by step. So really, the first thing is I just wanted to see if there's any questions. I know we all watched that video about Elite, but I just want anyone that's, especially those of you who are like new to this side of things, just know that it takes a little time for this to actually like click. And really, I didn't feel like I truly understood it until I started to have coaches that were hitting Success Club, and I saw these points come back into my back office. So just know as you have questions about anything, like if you want clarification, but it really is pretty simple once you get going. The main things to focus on are your own retail, because you have to get a bunch of that, and then helping new coaches hit Success Club, or even their first month to get Success Club points on the board. And I think that is a really great thing to focus on, like in their first months, to work their way towards Success Club. So kind of the trajectory of the business is, okay, you have a new coach join, and the first goal is just, hey, let's just sell something. Let's just get something on the board so that you have that first experience of how do you send a share cart, how do you sign someone up? And then we can go on and let's get you to Success Club after that. And then the goal is to help these newer coaches create consistency with Success Club. So one thing too is that a lot of new coaches, and this is something that I'm really excited for us to work through as leaders. A lot of times new coaches will start out really strong, and they'll post a couple posts and they'll hit Success Club. So their first few months might be pretty easy. And I would say this is kind of a typical, what I see to be very typical with a new coach is you'll join, you'll have a post up, you'll hit Success Club in the first, few months, or maybe not the first month, but then the first several months. And it's kind of like, oh, all right, I got this. And it's great experience because you're getting the hang of sending out share cards, but you truly aren't learning how to put the work in at that point. What you're learning how to do is to post and get people to come to you, right? Like that's what new coaches are kind of doing to start off. And then you realize usually there hits this little bump in the road where it's like, oh, this doesn't just happen. I have to learn, actually, these people that were telling me to do this tracker, I actually have to do the tracker, and I have to do it in a way that is actually going to get me results. And so I would love to say it's as simple as checking the boxes off, but there is some little tweaking and wording and things that you learn to truly then create the habit of Success Club. So that's what we're going to be helping the new coaches do. And that's, I think, the hardest part.
What a concept. You can't just check the boxes and be successful. Welcome to the real fucking world. But at least she's saying it, because a lot of times you'll hear, especially when they're talking about this tracker, that you just have to do the things on the list and check it off, and it's as easy as that. It's not as easy as that. You have to figure out how to do the things that are on the list so that you can check them off and actually do the things with intention to reach whatever goal you're trying to reach in your bullshit MLM. But like I said, a lot of the times the partners will just make it sound so simple, like you just have to check these things off every day and you'll be successful.
Of being a leader is helping people to see that in themselves, because you'll see it in them before they sometimes see it in themselves. And I think that is, as we're pushing for Elite, sometimes the hardest part is like, they can do it, but then that belief has to kick in before it really becomes. So that's what's so cool about Elite though, is because you get to be part of all of this process. And it's not just about us, it's about how do we help our new coaches. So I know for most of us that are pushing for Elite, our number one thing right now needs to be on recruiting.
It's like a pyramid scheme almost.
Because I know that some of us have coaches that have been around for a long time and they're great, but the biggest, and this is for me included, the biggest thing that we need to focus on right now is recruiting those new business builders. A lot of them will come out of our challenge groups. The great part about having such a massive January is like we have such a big pool of people to now help get results and then talk about the business. So does anyone have questions about, I'm not going to get into like the nitty gritties, but just anything that off the top of your head, you're like, you know what, like that part of it, I don't really understand. Yeah, go ahead, Stace.
Yeah, so I think I'm getting way better at it. But I think what was the biggest fear for me was I have all these challengers, but just super nervous about asking them to become a partner. And Jenna and I were just kind of talking about this actually on Friday. She's like, okay, now I encourage you to kind of, and I had already been kind of thinking about it, talking to those people that are already doing daily supplements, like, hey, what about being a partner? I did actually have someone the other night, and this was so cool. She came up to me and she's like, Stacy, she's like, I she just had said that what I had said about being a partner really resonated with her. And she was like, I really want to learn about it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what? But what was so cool about it was she had said the way that I had talked about it. She's like, I've heard it before, but the way you talked about it made me really want to learn more. And so that boosted my confidence, because I feel that I have to first have belief in myself to have belief in somebody else. So I think my biggest fear is, okay, so that's great. I was so excited, but then I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, how am I going to help her? But obviously I have Jenna.
I don't know what I'm doing. How am I going to help her?
Those are some red flags.
I don't think the flag can get any more red than that. That is crimson red, dripping in the dye still, flapping in the wind, hitting you in the face.
I don't know what I'm doing. How am I going to help her?
You should tell her that you don't know what you're doing and not to start anything with body, because exhibit A.
I think that I just need to. So I really enjoyed the step where we had the challenge where you had us doing certain things for a month where we bet on ourselves for the business challenge. That was really good for me to kind of feel, and I don't know if we want to, like, every 3 months kind of do something like that to kind of help our new coaches too. I think like Grace here too also agrees probably that was kind of nice to kind of get into the habit of doing that, the business part. You guys all know you guys are rock stars, so I trust each and one of you, but I think that's my biggest fear. First off, I believe in myself, but I'm worried once I do get those partners, I want to keep them around, like what you're saying.
Yeah, no, that's so great. And I think that's such a great thing. I'm glad you brought that up, because one thing that I've been thinking a little bit about, and I actually talked to Megan about this a little bit, is kind of from this group, like this is kind of our top tier. We're going for it. We're going to go for elite. And then, but I would like to have maybe starting in March or whenever we feel like we have a decent amount of people that want to do it, because I don't know that right now we have like a ton of people that would be like, I'm going to hit success tournament. But I think it would be cool to have kind of like a group where we teach them how to have consistency with Success Club. Like that's the main focus, is like, let's just really focus on that without the, you have to hit diamond or you have to hit, like, just getting that solid. So yeah. And I love those challenges too, where you have to like be consistent with certain things. And for this group, I know that we all would probably say the recruiting piece is like the part that we really need to focus on this year. It always is. It's not like that's new, but I think, yeah, if we can. Okay. So I don't know if you guys saw the news, but last night at like 3:30, actually Jake was taking his kids home from school. There was a private jet that crashed onto our freeway. So it hit a car, and it was like people. It was 5 people in. Three of them ended up getting out. But anyway, so I just heard like it was like less than a mile from our house. So I just heard a plane, and I'm like, anyway, yeah, I know, so scary, so sad.
Squirrel.
Anyway, sorry, but yeah, I think focusing on all that accountability and yeah, knowing that it is a process though. And I think just the consistency of, for some of us in this group, it's going to be like, we're all at a little bit different levels. Right. And so like, I was talking to, again, Megan, we were talking about like, oh my gosh, like Success Club and hitting that every month, like putting these benchmarks. And if you guys know me, you know that like I'm an includer, and that's actually hard for me to do, to put like, okay, this is what you have to do. But I was telling Megan, over the years, what I've learned about my leadership is that when I get soft is when I actually like, I'm not helping anyone at that point. I'm not helping people get to the next level when I don't have certain standards in place. And so
you're not helping people get to the next level because of that, or is it because you don't have the education behind you to help you get to the next level of their health and fitness or in their business? Because I think it's the latter of the two. You might want to check that.
What I've learned over the years is actually the opposite. When we have standards of, okay, guys, we're going to hit Success Club, we're going to do recruiting, then people actually level up to it. And they're like, okay, if that's what I have to do, then I will figure out how to do it. I think a lot of us, if our backs are up against the wall, we do things that we never thought possible. So I think that is the beauty of this group, is like leaning into that accountability and really like embracing it. But it's also a mindset thing. And still, I mean, no one is perfect at this. It's like always challenging yourself to like have that belief that it is possible. Okay, I would love to pick a couple brains, because Elite this year is, in a nutshell, very similar to how Premier was in the past. Like, they've lowered the benchmark some to where it's like more, it feels more attainable in the market that we're in right now. And so really, even though it's called Elite, some of the girls on this call have already experienced what this entire process is like. So I know Natalie and Jenna, if you guys would mind just sharing kind of maybe high level, like what you learned when you went for Premier, what you learned like when you leveled up and really saw those like bigger jumps in your business, like any kind of like advice or just things that are on your mind that you'd want to share with this group. I don't know, Jenna, do you want to go first?
Sure. For me, when it comes to tracking the numbers and the different categories and things, I don't know about you guys, but I felt that the volume one, the APV, was very easy for me to hit. I feel like going into hitting Premier, I had a really solid base on the retail side of things and people staying on their supplements and staying engaged and that kind of thing. So I almost didn't even have to think about that category, but I really had to focus on the 2 diamonds, and also just personally sponsored coaches hitting Success Club. So that for me was the really tough part. And I think what it came down to is I kind of like what Stacey was talking about, just consistently talking not only about the partner opportunity, but challenging and pushing and really helping people dig into their why. Like, why do they want to do it in the first place? Knowing that it wasn't for me, like it wasn't just for me to say I'm Premier, but like how that can actually translate into them helping themselves. And I always feel like when people are focused on their own whys, everything just runs smoother and better. Like even with a health and wellness journey, there's so many parallels between health and wellness and your partner journey. Anyway, I just, that was a couple years ago, but I just remember that had to be on the forefront. And don't waste time. Like, don't think, oh, it's February, I've got a ton of time. Like, no, that the time is now, because once you get towards the end of the year, then you're really like under a crunch. But anyway, Natalie, I don't know if you have.
So good.
Yeah, I feel like the year that I hit Premier, it wasn't even really focusing on the numbers. It was getting new people and then leading them like alongside them. I think that's the kind of leader I like to be, is like doing it right with them. And so it was, just a handful of people. And we said, let's do this together. They were working towards Diamond. I was working on a second CBC towards Diamond, and we were all doing the exact same thing. So it was more like, just like fitness too, right? Like Jenna was saying, it's like in our groups, it's easier to be a leader for them when you're doing the same things they're doing in the group, doing the same workouts. In this case, like we all rallied around the same program. So we were all hyped up about that.
So if you're being a leader, right, you can go ahead and do the thing with them, like walk with them, right? Figuratively speaking, or literally, I don't know. But you should probably know the way to get to where you're going if you're leading them. Regardless of if you're doing it with them or not, you should know the way, because if not, you're all going to be fucking lost and not know what you're doing. So whether you're talking business body partners or people who are doing the fitness programs with you, you should know where you're taking them and not just be all willy-nilly with it. And they act like they know exactly what the they're talking about by saying this stuff with so much confidence, with their whole fucking chest, and they have no fucking clue in most cases what they're doing. The other girl literally just said it. She doesn't know what she's doing. How's she gonna help people? I don't know. Go walk with your other partner that doesn't know what they're doing. Everybody just doesn't know what they're doing. They're running around like they're chickens with their fucking heads cut off, acting like they know what they're doing and they can see.
The excitement was there, and then we were just together moving through, hitting Diamond essentially. So it was, I don't know. I know all these numbers are important to track and to focus on, but I think it really does happen when you just focus on, okay, I need a couple of people that want to do this with me, and then start doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so true. And it really is so simple. It's like, we have to, like, and the numbers, it's like you track that once a month, right? It's like next Friday, we'll get those numbers. If you're Diamond or above, we'll mark it in here. But that's like a hot second to mark the numbers. And then it's more like the behaviors day to day. I'll say one thing I was talking with Jake about, because I was like, gosh, what was I doing differently when I was, 1 year our team ended like top 12. It's like, what was I doing back then that I have stopped doing? And I think for me, I like stopped running with the willing and I tried to drag people. So like I would, first of all, I was recruiting more. And I think that's another lesson is like, we have to like level up how many people we're recruiting at once, because if you just recruit one or two, like you're going to be let down.
Interesting.
But the other piece is like, if I had someone join and they weren't taking action, I didn't like spend hours on Zoom with them to try to teach them this business. They were like, okay, well, I'll find the next person. And then a lot of times when you find someone else that's working, then that person comes around because they're like, oh, well, that person's taking action. So I think for all of us to be very also like focused on where's our time going. Doug Moss has this, like, I don't know if you guys remember, he shared this at the retreat once. But basically like how much time should you be spending on your own business versus helping your partners? And as a diamond coach, it should be 90% of your time is on your own business and recruiting and 10% helping your people, which is like really hard to do once you have a coach that's excited, right? Like you have someone that signs up and they're pumped, you have an hour to work your business. Most of the time we get that to be the opposite. I think that's where we hold ourselves back because we're like 55 minutes on my coach and then 5 minutes on my own business. And
that's a great display of the fact that you cannot work this in the pockets of your day if you want to make a livable wage, because you have to constantly be recruiting and constantly be talking about this shit. And you can't do that in the hour that you have a day. If you're taking that advice and doing 90% and 10%, you're never going to have enough time to find the success that these individuals are looking for in MLMs. And that's the fucking problem.
So as you, even at a 15-star diamond coach, he recommends 50% of your time should be building your business, 50% of your time on your coaches, which is like, I think, again, just where we hold ourselves up. So it's really like, okay, let's get people going. Let's help them to hit Success Club. But if they waver, and I just had this with a new coach, and she was like, this happens, right? She's like, my brother, and I totally understand. Life happens. And that's just the reality of it. I'm not mad at her. I'm not upset with her. It's just like a good reminder for me to go, oh yeah, life happens. So this coach that I was super excited about, her brother's now sick. She has to help out with the family business. So she's not focusing on the business, right? On our business. That's life. But if I had put so much time into her and then she does that, it feels so devastating, as opposed to, hey, everybody gets the same amount of time. If you're taking action, if you're hitting Success Club, you get my attention because you're actually like working. If you're not, like, love you, but I have to keep focused on growing. So I think that is like a really, just something that we'll have to kind of keep each other in check with. Like right now, I don't feel like, I need to first of all recruit before I can have that problem again. But I feel like, again, if you have one or two people, we tend to drag those same people on for years, hoping, oh, yep, they're coming back, they're doing it. And then we don't recruit as much as we should. Like Jenna said, the time is really now.
You always have to be recruiting. Always, always, always. She just basically said that it's a pyramid scheme without saying it's a pyramid scheme. In my opinion, maybe.
All of a sudden it's going to be May and we're going to be like, oh, I still don't have anyone new. And then it starts to feel stressful. But if we bring people on now, then it gets to be really exciting. So any other questions about Elite, about what to focus on? It really is, we say it over and over, it's the tracker times 10 kind of with Elite, is just really focusing on those business building activities. Any other questions that you guys or thoughts that you want to talk through?
Is there a place? Oh, sorry. Is there a place where there's a report that tells us like who qualifies for, the different categories?
I was just looking at that actually.
Yeah.
I don't know, Amber, I don't know if there's like a pretty report, but under incentive programs, you can go to PS Partner Success Club qualification and you can at least see of your partners, like you can scroll over and it has each of the previous months and see how many Success Club points they've had. But I don't know if there's a report, is there, Amber, that's explicitly like, these qualify for this?
No, I wish there really should be there. I wish there was. I think the best you can do right now is to look like where Jenna's looking, where you can, if you're under spot, you can, there's a few different places to find it. Where I look for it is like in sponsorship drill down. you can select which checkboxes are. I don't have, it's not open, but when you're in sponsorship drill down, you can select previous SC, like that box, and then it will pop up, or wherever Jen is at. It sounds like it's doing the exact same thing there. But no, I think to find a lit last year, and Jen, I know you had asked this before too. Last year they had sent us a list of like, these are the girls who could qualify for elite points. Because if you have anyone that didn't hit Success Club last year, PS coaches, like they would count for this year. Let me send a message to see if we could get somehow a list of that. I know for some of us who have bigger businesses, that's going to be more important. Others, if you only have a couple coaches, you don't need that. You kind of know when they sign up. But yeah, I think tracking that and knowing who, because I even had some girls hit it last month and I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder if they actually count. And I don't really have an idea of like how to know that. So yeah, that's a good question. Kayla, can I pick your brain for a quick second? Because Kayla has been like really, really great at recruiting this last year and like getting her girls to take action. And I know one thing that I've talked to her, which is why like this call we're talking today, but for the most part, these calls are going to be really like, let's hop on. What did you call it, Kayla? It was like a rapid recap. Like, let's quick talk, like everybody take a turn. What went well this week? What didn't go well? And then really spend most of the time to work. But one thing that I was talking to Kayla, I was like, I just feel like you're more of like a hard ass than me. And I feel like that is why her coaches succeed, is because she's like, this is what you're going to do. This is how you do it. This is what you should post about. Like, so Kayla, can you kind of share any tips that you would have for us about what you've done, especially in this last year you have a big downline now of coaches that are producing.
Okay, honestly, I think like our messenger thread is really the game changer. Like there isn't in a half hour, an hour that goes by that someone isn't saying something in there. Like it is always, someone's always sharing something, whether it's like, hey, I have a question about this. Hey, I just posted this. Could you give it some love?
Well, that's tacky.
Hey, I have a conversation here. How would you respond? So I think just like creating a really positive, like, and exciting atmosphere for your coaches is super important. I don't know. I think that's been the biggest thing, because in the past, like, I feel like I've had a messenger thread, but it's been crickets. But for some reason now it's like lighting up, and it just makes me excited too, to like plug into it and to share more in it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And how do you create that like expectation of Success Club right off the bat? Like any tips there?
I don't know. Like I really just tell them kind of it's like a non-negotiable. And like with my last partner, Lexi, like she was like, I don't know if I'm going to have anyone. And she ended up hitting like SC 22 or 24 or something. And I think just really pouring that belief into them. Like you said, like, I think we believe in them before they believe in themselves. And just like, if you as an upline are showing up and putting in the work, I think they're more likely to show up and put in the work too. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Sorry, I feel like I'm like dead to the world this morning.
Oh, that's perfect. That's great. It's simple. I love it.
I feel like you just served us up some word salad. This is ridiculous. Do these individuals really believe what's coming out of their mouth?
It's great. Okay, anything else that you guys want to chat about? When Kayla and I were talking about this call and she was like, I think we should do this, I was like, well, actually, that reminds me when I was starting this business and, really wanting to scale it, I would do like what I had called weekend project time, because during the week, you do your best with the kids and whatnot to get stuff done. But I swear, if you have the opportunity on the weekend to have a chunk of a couple hours, obviously we won't be on for a couple hours, but if you can even set aside that time on a weekend, I think you'll be so surprised as to like how far ahead you can feel for the following week or for the rest of the month.
Is that a pocket of your day, or is that like actual hours that you set aside to work?
As opposed to sometimes when we work this business, it can feel so scattered, like 10 minutes here, 15 minutes here. But if you have things that you keep going, like, I want to get to that and you never do, like that project time on the weekends can be great for that. Oh, Natalie has a question for you, Kayla.
No, I'm not doing monthly calls for recruiting. I put together, this was like a couple months ago. I just did like a quick 10-minute recording of myself, kind of recapping what a partner does, fears and hesitations I had, like just like a normal info call. And that is what I've been sending a lot of people. So actually yesterday, this is just kind of an example of how I'm trying to switch my mindset a little bit. I had someone who said, like, I just initially sent them a normal invite and they said, hey, thanks for reaching out, but I already have a really well set workout routine between my Peloton, the gym, training for a half marathon, and yoga sculpt. Thank you, though. And normally I feel like I would be like, thanks for getting back to me. I appreciate it, yada, yada. But I was like, okay, here's my chance. So I said, holy moly, look at you go, absolute rock star. Totally not sure if this is your jam, but have you ever thought about sharing your journey with others and earning an income? You clearly have such a passion for health and wellness, so I can totally imagine the impact you'd have. I have a quick 10-minute video I'd be happy to send your way if you're at all interested.
Yuck.
Here's the thing is that this individual is having success with the regimen she's on that does not include body. So how would her joining body or doing anything with body at this point warrant her going out and saying, yay, let me help you with this body stuff that I didn't use to get healthy or get in shape? Ooh, what the
And she responded and she's like, I'd actually love to check it out. So I'm like,
that's great.
who knows if it'll go anywhere, but you know, in the past where I would normally just blow it off, like at least I'm giving them the opportunity.
She probably wanted to be nice.
Right.
And I like that that's you doing the video instead of the corporate one. The corporate one is great and it's quick and it's easy and stuff, but the fact that you're delivering the information and like putting in your personal experience, I think that's really powerful too, because you'd be the person they're aligning with, you know.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Would you mind popping that into our group so we could take a peek at it?
Yeah, for sure.
I think that would actually be a really great thing for all of us to do this week is just challenge ourselves to put together a video. And yeah, I think that's great. And I love how you made it so simple. Like, you want to check this out?
Do that in the pocket of your day.
Another thing too, I think is not deciding for other people if this would be good for them or not, and really thinking of invites as planting seeds. And think about yourself. Did you say yes immediately? I know I didn't. My previous coach literally planted seeds with me half a dozen times, and I kept saying no, so you just never know. And so we can't think that these no's or non-responses, we can't think that they're dead ends all the time, and to just keep going. And I think voice messaging for me feels a little more natural too with inviting, just them being able to hear in your voice, 30 seconds, a minute. It doesn't need to be a long dissertation, but just pop in, breathe belief, spread some love, and keep going,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so good. All right. Anything else that you guys want to share, tips or questions, anything?
I actually want to share one thing. I kind of mentioned about the challenges. So a couple months ago, I had kind of said to Jenna, it just seems kind of like crickets a little bit in my group. People were really excited and then they're kind of not. What can I do to kind of get them excited? And so then Jenna and I coordinated the November challenge where bet on yourself, right? Kind of rock the block is what it was. And then we did a December challenge, and then in January we just did a regular group, and then we're doing another challenge again. That right there has been everything. That has really jump-started my challengers just to keep going. They've developed the habits. I think that's why I have all these challengers and why I'm okay, now I can kind of start planting more seeds of the partner opportunity. I have one particular person super scared to start, finally did because we have that challenge. And now she's just non-negotiable about getting her workout in. And even though she's sore and she had a headache the other day, but she's I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it. Someone else in my group said I'm so glad that I'm not the only one here expressing I don't like leg day, but I'm still going to do it. And so, I
That's actually your body telling you need to fucking rest. Especially with these body workouts. Some of them are so intense that almost nobody should be doing them. They probably needed to rest. That's probably why they had a headache or they weren't feeling well, because they were working out so hard and pushing themselves so much that their body was like,
hey, I'm trying to tell you that I need a rest day. Give me a fucking rest day, you ho.
That escalated quickly.
sorry, I got carried away there.
I don't know. That was just something that I kind of wanted to let everyone know. Just always kind of thinking about like, right, the challenges, not having it every single month, but having something to be excited about. And then you develop those habits. So that is just something that's been really eye-opening for me. Maybe everyone already knows that, but I just wanted to mention it.
No, I think that's great. And it's like, I love seeing you guys post about it. Like I have FOMO. It's like, so it just looks like what you guys are doing is so fun, you know? So can you tell us, are you like, you guys are in the app, right? You're doing your group in the app. So is that how you track like what they do every day?
Yeah, we actually run our own accountability groups, but we've partnered together kind of on the back end to do these different challenges. So specifically what she's talking about is we've done a couple split the pot challenges where people pay in, you know, bet on themselves. And then as long as they do the workouts and do the tracking, they split the pot, and then we've done additional prizes and things. But it's nice because Stacy still has the interface with her people, and then I still have it with mine, but it's one big pot, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But I really like this time, I took the idea from Kalisha, how she had a story slide for people to share their workout. And I really liked that. It gets them in the practice of not only accountability to do it, but the sharing aspect. So some of them share their little story slide in their sweaty selfie, you know, every single day. So that's a great way to segue into an invite. Like you've been inspiring people, you've been showing up, you've been already doing pretty much what a partner does, you know, so that kind of a thing. And
you've been sharing your sweaty selfie. You're gonna be successful.
No, nobody gives a fuck about your sweaty selfie. I learned that. I still post it every now and then, but nobody gives a flying fuck about the fact that you just worked out and now you're sweaty. Nobody gives a fuck.
That will help, I think, if they do decide to be a partner, people they invite will already have seen what they're doing. So anyway,
yeah,
very small, simple thing, but I think it has a big impact.
Yeah, I love that. So you guys are still running your own groups, but the pot is everybody. I like that. That's great.
So the rest of the video was just them sitting in a Zoom room working. These people, in my opinion, might be potentially delusional. Why do we think that we can help people with their health and fitness so that we can get to a top level in an MLM? Are you fucking kidding me? They need a reality check. Anyway, it's time for our palate cleanser. TikTok hates your bullshit.
Done. Give me this. I am tired of telling y'all to put your phones up. I said it 4 times before the bell. Goodness gracious. And you know what? You can get your parents to replace it because I'm tired. Y'all pull your phone out, you get the same thing. I'm done. Oh, it's funny to you? I think it's hilarious because tomorrow's April Fool's Day and we're not going to be together. So that's how they did Janae's phone. Oh my God. Got you.
Could you imagine? When I first saw that, I was like, oh my God, I'd kind of be pissed and kind of be like, oh, well, you had your phone out in class. But it wasn't even that child's phone. It was just an April Fool's joke. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me while I talk a bunch of shit, and I will see you in the next one.